Today on Body and Health, hearing loss, or should I say hearing gain, because the hearing aid technology is helping a lot more people these days with some amazing advances. Body and Health. I'm Colleen Walsh. The conventional hearing aid that fits in the ear is a marvel of miniaturization. But for some people, amplifying the sound isn't enough. Now they have a hearing aid that bypasses the outer ear entirely when injury or other damage makes ordinary aids ineffective. So you can see exactly how this hearing aid works. We will show a few close-up images of a minor operation in our next report. They're over and done with quickly, but just be prepared.
When I was growing up, I lived in a small town in Cranbrook, BC, and I was struggling with chronic ear infections. As time went by, the infections kept coming back. Eventually, I needed to have ear surgeries. When I started going back to school and post-secondary diploma in Calgary, one day I woke up quite sick, very dizzy, and a specialist checked me out and realized that my ear is inflamed and had an infection. The infection has spread quite a bit and I have to do ear surgeries. After I had the surgery, and they went to pull the packing out of the ear, and the doctor does the test with the anvil to see what the sound was. And I wasn't getting any kind of response on my left side, and I saw the facial expression of my specialist at the time, noticing something's not quite right. This shouldn't have happened. The trauma of the infection and the surgery destroyed what residual hearing I had. I put headphones on and I had no hearing in the left ear, and it was like the saddest feeling in the world. 2 weeks ago you had hearing, and all of a sudden, nothing. I have an appointment with Monica.
There is no residual hearing. His nerve was in fact dead. And so he was then relying on his right ear, which had a hearing loss as well.
Wearing the bone-anchored hearing aid, and then again when you are wearing the bone-anchored hearing aid, and all I need you to do is raise your left hand when you are hearing the sound. Even if it's very, very soft, it's okay to guess. The bone-anchored hearing aid, the BAHA, is a method of transmitting sound directly through the bones of the skull to the nerves within the inner ear. And it's very simple in its design in terms of how it works. You will have an external device on an individual's head, and then you will have a small titanium fixture implanted in the person's head that will transfer the sound from the outside to the inside.
The volume control that controls it from off or on. If I want to turn it off, I just turn it down. And if I want to turn it on, I just click it. And then 2 is my range, or 1.5 to 2 is the volume that I usually use it at. And if I want to increase the amplification, I turn it up higher.
Individuals that qualify for BAHA would be people who have chronic middle ear drainage that can't be cleared up, prevent the use of hearing aids, people who have abnormalities of the outer ear or the ear canal, individuals that have had a lot of middle ear surgery and result in an ear canal that no longer works well for the fitting of a hearing aid device, as well as people who are deaf in one ear and hearing on the other.
Next day after the surgery, the nurse took the bandages off, and she said, well, better give you some morphine. And she says to me, well, I think you should take a look at this before we put a bandage on top of it. So I said, okay. I went to the washroom, and I looked at this scar, and I think I almost passed out.
And there's a plastic cap that fits over the abutment. There's a plastic white cap that sits on this, and that comes off a week later, and there is a dressing underneath that we take off. There are some stitches that need to come out. We do that, and then we're just in a healing mode. It takes 2 to 3 months for the implant to get fully integrated into the skull. Once it's integrated into the skull, there's no way to take that screw out unless you chisel out part of the skull. It's firmly fixed. If for whatever reason we don't want this anymore, we disconnect the abutment, and the skin will just grow right over the fixture.
You're now going to hear a man's voice on a tape. He'll be saying some words to you, such as baseball, airplane, and his voice will get very, very soft. Please repeat the words you hear back to me and guess if you're not sure.
Horseshoe,
Horseshoe.
iceberg,
Iceberg. After the surgery, I was getting a little discouraged when I brushed my hair and I hit the pin, which is the abutment that anchors the hearing aid. I would get a noise, like I could hear it across my ear, and that's when I start realizing, thinking, well, actually it's working.
Once the individual has been cleared medically that we can attach the bone-anchored hearing aid to the abutment.
I joined the outrigging team, and it's only 6 of us in a boat. And the team I belong to is called the Victoria Canoe and Kayak Club, and it's a non-profit group. For me, as a hard-of-hearing person, it's just a challenge. I like to be the counter when it comes to switching the paddles over, because I can't hear when we have to switch paddles over. And also you're trying to keep your rhythm and beat in the boat.
We're just waiting for
Hello everybody.
Hello.